Stop, look around you. Do you feel the relentless, purifying fire of this chaotic moment? This is the final furious scouring of our planetary home. The dust is flying, the old furniture is being hauled out, and the walls are being stripped bare. The Creator is cleaning house, and soon the new world will be revealed. Are you prepared to stay, or will you be among those sent to a harsher shore? Your spiritual destiny is calling. Read on to discover the planet you must evolve to inhabit. Amidst this trial, let hope be your anchor. For the new era of regeneration is not merely a promise, it is an imminent cosmic certainty. And know this, your most powerful tool is within you. Let prayer be the unshakable, constant foundation of your daily life, the silent communication that aligns your soul with the highest frequency, ensuring your passage into the peace that awaits. Mediums across the world agree. The relentless chaos, the societal friction, and the dramatic upheaval we experience today are not signs of decline, but symptoms of a cosmic spring cleaning. Our home, planet Earth, is being intensely scrubbed, just as you must turn a house upside down, shuffling drawers, discarding the obsolete, vacuuming the deepest corners. Before the scent of fresh air and order can prevail, so too is our planetary stage currently messy. The excess pride, the poisonous envy, and the bitter hatred that cling to the collective soul are the dust motes being violently shaken out. What is rotten is being cast out, what is precious is being preserved, and the entire moral atmosphere is being renewed. This bewildering intensity explains the cry in so many hearts. Why this overwhelming wickedness? Why this relentless parade of malice and betrayal? People struggle to reconcile the existence of good with the seemingly endless eruption of evil, failing to grasp that this moral turmoil is the final, violent discharge of accumulated spiritual debt, the inevitable consequence of clearing out millennia of moral debris before the final alignment. The current suffering, the pandemics of despair, and the fragmentation of communities are the necessary effluvia rising to the surface, demanding conscious spiritual attention. Prayer, therefore, is not a plea for escape, but a potent, internal engine of purification, actively speeding up your alignment and minimizing the personal friction caused by the planet's transition. The decade leading up to 2057 is the period of the most acute friction, the final moral sifting where every choice, every internal alignment, is magnified by the intensifying spiritual radiation from the cosmos. Society is polarized not by politics or wealth, but by the very vibration of the soul. Those committed to the ego's darkness find the planet's rising frequency physically grating, manifesting as unexplained anxieties, profound restlessness, and a deep-seated antagonism toward any form of collective harmony. Conversely, those striving for ethical lives feel a powerful guiding clarity, a sense of quiet anticipation for the imminent change, their inner work harmonizing with the planetary transformation. This is the great separation, not enforced by judgment, but by irreconcilable energetic difference, the soul's inherent preference for light or shadow acting as a cosmic magnet. The Earth itself, responding to the divine will, is preparing its physical form for the higher existence. Geological shifts are stabilizing. The biosphere is being subtly calibrated, and the subtle energy fields that govern life are being enhanced to support a longer, healthier, and more consciously aware physical existence. The curtain falls on the long era of trials and expiation. Sometime after 2057, the new age will be fully manifest, the world of regeneration. This is not a distant utopia, but the next required step in cosmic schooling. The transition itself is heralded by the great stillness, a universal momentary cessation of noise and motion, a flicker in the timeline where the veil between the physical and spiritual realms thins to nothing. This stillness is often experienced simultaneously across the globe, uniting all remaining souls in a single, profound instant of shared peace and understanding. For the souls ready to remain, this moment provides a profound, instantaneous self-assessment, a panoramic view of their past errors and current alignment, solidifying their choice to embrace the regenerated frequency. The physical planet undergoes a subtle yet absolute transformation. The colors of the spectrum gain depth and clarity. The air carries a palpable, invigorating energy, and the fundamental sound of the planet shifts to a higher, more harmonious frequency, a resonant hum that soothes the spirit and stimulates creativity. The very light filtered through the atmosphere seems cleaner, illuminating existence with a sharper, more beautiful definition. The souls who remain on Earth will have achieved a critical threshold of moral evolution. This shift means that the dark, disordered passions, the vicious cycle of revenge, the paralyzing grip of pride, the corrosive nature of envy, will no longer dominate the human spirit. The practice of goodness will become the unspoken social contract. It will be the default, the natural flow of all human interactions, not a labored choice but an intuitive reaction. The internal landscape of humanity is dominated by reason, guided by benevolence, enabling collective ventures in science, art, and society that were previously impossible due to endemic distrust and competitive egoism. Telepathic communication, previously sporadic and unreliable, becomes a frequent and manageable mode of interaction for many, enhancing transparency and eliminating the potential for deception. Imagine a world where the word love is not just sung in songs, but is visibly written in every face. A perfect equity presides over all social relations, meaning that justice is not something fought for, but something inherent and universally applied, understood less as punitive law and more as balanced natural consequence and immediate ethical restoration. Every inhabitant instinctively recognizes the existence of a higher law and endeavors, without coercion, to fulfill it. This alignment with divine will transforms governance, education, and even commerce, making corruption and exploitation obsolete concepts. Governance is handled by councils of spiritual attainment, groups of advanced souls whose sole qualification is their proven devotion to the collective good and their clarity of intuitive moral reasoning. Decisions are made through consensus based on the highest ethical principle, rendering political division and partisan strife meaningless relics of the past. Disputes, rare as they are resolved through meditative consensus and spiritual guidance rather than adversarial process, always seeking mutual growth. The very fabric of society is interwoven with mutual respect and ethical clarity, enabling unprecedented societal harmony. Life in the world of regeneration is marked by profound tranquility. While individuals remain subject to physical laws and human sensations, the intense, agonizing suffering and painful expiations characteristic of the previous era are dramatically attenuated or entirely absent. The primary tone of existence is one of calm, repose, and purpose. The environment itself reflects this serenity. Natural disasters become less frequent and devastating, and human physical ailments are often alleviated by the advanced understanding of the mind-body connection that permeates medical science and daily life. Healing is often achieved through focused spiritual energy and bioregenerative technologies that honor the body's natural wisdom. Rather than invasive, traumatic procedures, the pursuit of science is dedicated entirely to understanding the spiritual dimension of matter and life, leading to breakthroughs in sustainable energy harvested from the ether and architectural designs that actively promote psychological and spiritual well-being. Technology serves only to liberate the soul for higher contemplation and creative expression, eliminating drudgery and physical exhaustion, giving back vast amounts of time previously spent on mundane survival. The arts become the primary language of spiritual communication. Music, built on complex harmonic structures previously too subtle for the human ear, now heals emotional wounds and facilitates collective meditative states. Architecture flows with nature, buildings appearing to rise organically from the landscape, built from bioluminescent, self-repairing materials. Education is focused on the cultivation of innate spiritual gifts, teaching young souls not what to think, but how to access and utilize the profound wisdom inherent within their own spirits and the universal consciousness. History is taught not as a catalogue of wars, but as a narrative of spiritual lessons learned through expiation. The family unit returns to its divine purpose as the primary incubator for moral teaching, where relationships are characterized by profound soul affinity, transparency, and unconditional support, having transcended the turmoil of possessive passion and fleeting physical attraction. The atmosphere of Earth is one of perpetual, joyful work, not labor for survival, but effort dedicated to mutual elevation and spiritual growth. The old anxieties concerning scarcity, competition, and mortality have been replaced by a deep-seated confidence in the divine provision and the continuity of life. The inhabitants truly grasp their immortality, viewing physical death not as an end, but as a temporary, voluntary passage to spiritual planes for refreshment and study, before happily returning to continue their work on the regenerated earth. The journey of the soul, however, does not end. Regeneration is a school of continuous progress. The inhabitants of this beautiful world will diligently continue their spiritual refinement, working to purify their essences and prepare themselves for the next stage. The journey toward far more elevated worlds, worlds of sublime happiness, where matter is almost entirely etherealized. They become spiritual stewards for lesser worlds, extending their benevolence and knowledge across the cosmos. But their primary focus remains their own continuous moral and intellectual self-depuration. This means the planet thrives in a perpetual climate of peace, justice, and fraternity, free from the major conflicts and destructive misdeeds that plagued the era of expiation. In essence, the regenerated Earth is an environment where humanity, though still imperfect, actively and sincerely strives to live by the highest moral and ethical principles. It is the reward and the platform for significant collective evolution, a stepping stone to the highest echelons of spiritual existence, a profound and necessary respite before the final ascension. But what of those souls, those who, despite the opportunity of the great cleaning, still cling to the dense, stubborn darkness of hatred, selfishness, and malice? They will find that they are no longer in tune with the planet's elevated, vibratory frequency. The atmosphere of love and equity will become suffocating to them, and the call of evolution will prove too discordant. Their inner chaos finds no resonance in the outer harmony, creating an intolerable spiritual pressure. Their resistance to the light makes their presence on the regenerated Earth a violation of the planetary law of equilibrium, a dissonance that must be corrected. The final determination is not a sentence, but a simple act of energetic separation, the cosmic equivalent of a body rejecting a foreign agent. The moment of departure is profound. For the unaligned, the spiritual energy of the regenerated Earth becomes an irresistible force of displacement. They do not leave on spaceships. Their dense, dark vibrations are gently, yet firmly, pulled away from the Earth's auric field and directed toward a realm of corresponding density. As the spiritual body departs, the physical vessel it inhabited on the old Earth gently dissolves, returning its constituent elements to the renewed planet without pain or violence. The souls themselves are guided by benevolent yet strict cosmic missionaries to their new temporary home. For these souls, the divine law provides a new opportunity for learning. They will be gathered and sent for new reincarnations on a primitive world, far less evolved than Earth. This world, known as Chiron, is a raw embryonic planet existing in a state akin to the Stone Age. Chiron is a planet of harsh geological struggle, high gravity, a dense, turbulent atmosphere, and a surface frequently scarred by volcanic activity and tectonic shifts. Survival is not given, it is earned through brute physical strength and rudimentary collective action. The souls arrive and take on new rudimentary forms, their memories of their privileged lives on Earth entirely erased, a total evolutionary reset. The harshness of Chiron is the precise medicine they require. There are no social luxuries to hide behind, no complex laws to exploit, and no surplus resources to hoard. The struggle to secure food, shelter, and warmth forces the development of the primary fundamental virtues: cooperation for immediate survival, physical courage, basic selflessness toward the immediate clan, and the dawning recognition of a powerful, often terrifying higher power reflected in the raw forces of nature. The environment itself becomes the ultimate teacher of cause and effect. If a Chiroan acts selfishly, they immediately suffer cold or starvation, forcing an instantaneous, visceral understanding of ethical necessity. Every single ethical lesson must be learned from scratch, through the bitter, immediate consequences of selfish actions. The path back to light is long and hard, marked by millennia of slow, deliberate spiritual progress within the crucible of matter. But it is a path of ultimate redemption. Chiron is where the ultimate prodigal sons and daughters must finally begin the arduous climb back toward the Father's house. Their new, painful journey proving the immutable wisdom that the universe never abandons a single soul, only places it where the lesson is most perfectly taught. Earth is regenerated. The choice, to evolve and remain, or to reject the light and depart for Chiron, is now irrevocably sealed, and the peace of the new era has dawned for those who chose love.